82 more of the young women from Nigeria who became known as the Chibok girls when they were kidnapped by the militant group Boko Haram have been freed. Their release was negotiated in part by the Red Cross, which released this image of the girls as they were preparing to board a helicopter. They've now been flown to the capital, Abuja. Several buses were used in the convoy which carried them into the city. They're expected to meet President Buhari in a few hours' time. You might remember 276 schoolgirls were kidnapped by the Islamist militants more than 3 years ago in the northeast of Nigeria. This video was filmed by their captors shortly after they were taken. This latest release means 113 of the girls are still missing. Well, Evon Idahosa is the founder of the PATHFINDERS Justice Initiative, which works with the survivors of sex trafficking and rape in the developing world. She has been working with the campaign group Bring Back Our Girls. I spoke to her a little earlier. She was en route to Abuja, and I asked her what was likely to happen to the girls in the coming days.
They will receive immediate medical care by some government agencies, psychosocial support. And a few days later, they will probably be reunited with their families. Unfortunately, it seems to be the case that these girls are then kept in government detention for several months. We know that the girls who were released last October remain in government custody, and it appears that the earliest that they might be able to resume some sort of normalcy might be September of this year. So we anticipate probably at least another year in government captivity, I suppose, which is somewhat unfair, I believe, on my part.
Why are they kept by the government? What happens then?
You know, I'm not really sure. I think it's a question that those of us in the campaign have repeatedly been asking. Is there anything to hide? Because these girls generally should be able to be debriefed to receive the psychosocial support that they need within a couple of months and be reunited with their family. So that is sort of the pink elephant in the room. We're all wondering exactly what the government may have to hide or may not want these girls to be saying.
Evon, once the girls are reunited with their families, just how hard is it for them to get back to something resembling normality?
You know, I think even for a person who's been assaulted or raped on one occasion or kept in captivity for even a short amount of time, there's an extreme amount of trauma that they've sustained. Now, this is over 3 years in captivity for these girls. And so I think that it is certainly going to be difficult. We're hopeful that the government will provide intense psychosocial support for them. But again, it's important that they feel embraced by their communities, that they're reintegrated by their communities as the government has promised. If that's the case, then it will certainly make things easier. But from what we've seen from other girls who've been who returned to who tried to return to their normal lives, it's been extremely difficult because the communities are concerned about whether or not these girls were radicalized by Boko Haram, and to a certain extent there's some stigma that's associated with it. I think if the government does a good job ensuring that they receive the support and the help that they need and really present these girls as what they are, i.e. victims of the insurgency, that should help quite a bit.
Evon Idahosa talking to me earlier. She's from the PATHFINDERS initiative. Well, the campaign group #BringBackOurGirls, who have been championing the release of the Chibok girls, have released a statement. They said, "We are exceedingly delighted by this good news that has been long awaited. We are also glad that the statement from the presidency makes a strong commitment to rescuing the remaining 113 of our Chibok girls that are still captives of the terrorists." That statement released a short time ago.